Guys, Devin Gridley at All Father Fitness, and today I'm going to be talking about a video that doesn't apply to a lot of people, but I managed to script the video in a way that it would apply to a lot more individuals than just the specific set of individuals this video was going to be made for. And this video is basically based around, does lifting weights make you shorter? Now, I originally came across this kind of topic because a few weeks back, Coach Greg, he posted a video about a specific girl. She was, I believe, 7 years old, and she's some Instagram star or whatever because she lifts weights. She does deadlifts, she does squats, blah, blah, blah. She just lifts weights. She's in the gym with her parents. Both her parents are physical trainers, by the way. So, and there was a lot of hate and controversy over this. They're saying, oh, it's really unhealthy for the kid, blah, blah, blah. It's going to make her really short, and it's going to injure her and whatever, which I said that her parents are both physical trainers and they're both licensed and whatever. So obviously insulting them about whether what's good for the child is obviously bad, as well as the fact that they don't know what they're talking about when the parents obviously do, since they're licensed to do that and whatnot. But besides that, really the biggest misconception about this myth, now anything I say in this video, I can't exactly disprove or prove that you do or don't get shorter when lifting weights. It's impossible to prove or disprove. That's why there's controversy over it. But I'm able to give a lot of information about certain sports, being the gym or other recreational sports. And I'm going to give a lot of numbers out, and I'm just going to give you a lot of food for thought and make you realize that it's not really as bad as you think, even if it does make you shorter. So the big misconception about this is growth platelets. Now, if you don't know what growth platelets are, let's say you just take a bone, let's say the fibula or whatever, and the way the bone works, it starts off really small when you're a baby, and it's almost completely made of cartilage when you're really, really young, and it forms into bone, and it kind of forms into bone and outward. Starts from the middle, goes outward, and at the very ends, there's cartilage, and your body will keep adding this cartilage until you reach a certain age, until the bone is completely made up and it's all dense and whatever. So obviously, cartilage isn't as hard as bone, and it's prone to a lot of injuries. Now, little food for thought, 15 to 30% of injuries in children between the ages of 5 and 14 are growth platelet injuries. So just not having your kid lift weights isn't going to save them from the fact that they're going to get injured doing either other sports or just being kids going out and doing whatever they're going to go and do. So now you know what a growth platelet is and exactly how is it damaged. Really doing anything, any type of injury that injures the bone is gonna damage your growth platelets. Now, this could happen through pressure from, obviously, I don't think I need to explain how pressure works. If you're doing a squat or a deadlift, it's gonna put pressure on your joints. So people think that if you have a bone and you have another bone, and let's imagine there's the cartilage or the growth platelets, and if you put a lot of pressure, it's gonna get smashed and squashed and injured, obviously. A lot of people don't realize that when you go and lift weights, not many people get injured, and I'm actually going to throw numbers at you now and kind of prove that people get injured, obviously, in the gym, and usually it's because they're doing stupid things or they're overtraining or whatever. When you're a kid, you're obviously not going to be overtraining, especially if you have proper supervision, as well as the fact that when you're a kid, you're going to be really focusing on form, not on strength, because you're not at your physical maturity level. But I'm just going to give you the numbers now. So this is obviously just a normal Google search. It's not exactly the most accurate thing, but you'll understand the numbers a little bit better. Let's just round this up to 500,000 people. So it is estimated that 500,000 people were injured while exercising or using exercise equipment in 2012. So 500,000 people. Now, this doesn't really aid in anything because it doesn't really apply as much, because obviously a lot of children between the ages of 5 and 14 aren't going to be lifting weights, either super intensely or just averagely. So this number doesn't really come into play a lot, but just so it's there, 17,000 children between the ages of 5 and 14 do get hurt in the gym in 2012. That's what the number was. So I went to Stanford's Children and Health. Now this lists a bunch of sports, some more prominent than others, and it says how many children were injured in those sports in the year of 2009. Unfortunately, I couldn't find one from 2012, so the numbers aren't exactly accurate, but this is just for a complete basis. So you can go and read all of these, but the main ones I want to pick out, basketball, obviously it has 170,000. That's a lot. Let's just go back 500,000 people. 170,000. This is just kids too. So that 500,000 people was the ages of 50 or 5 through as old as you can possibly get, right? So it includes a lot more people, 500,000 people, and this is just one sport, and it's 170,000. Then they go into baseball, 110,000, bicycling, and I could list these all off, whatever. What matters is these all these sports, which almost every single children has at least played one of them. Be it, I think every single kid played baseball. Like every single kid probably. I don't know like a single person that just didn't play baseball, like not even one time. So a lot of people play these sports, and I added all these up, and it ended up being 1,022,000. So all these sports, and it's just the ages 5 to 14, they have more injuries in total than from 5 all the way up in just 1 year. So, and I also wanted to point out something very interesting. The reason I said a lot of kids do baseball and how it's probably one of the most played sports, baseball also has the highest fatality rate among sports for children ages 5 to 14, with 3 to 4 children dying from baseball injuries per year. That is a lot of kids dying from a sport that doesn't even have a lot of contact in it. That's pretty dangerous, and a lot of people don't really realize that. And that's kind of what I want to do about this video, is go and just bring a little bit more realization into what exactly how gym is different from other sports. Those other sports are obviously you get more injured, and I obviously just proved that using those numbers and whatever. Now, it wasn't as much as complete people in the gym in total of 2012, which was 500,000 people, but the fact that in 2009 1 million kids were injured from doing recreational sports, that almost every single kid has done at least one. And there was 2 sports in there that weren't even really sports, like sledding and roller skating. Those really aren't sports, like recreational sports. Those are things you just go out and do for fun, right? So besides that, 1 million from the ages 5 to 14 through 500,000 from the ages 5 and all the way up in just 1 year. Obviously, the gym isn't as dangerous as many other people think, as well as the fact that a sport that almost every single kid has played at least once in their life, baseball, has people dying left and right, apparently, which I didn't even know until I looked up that. So bringing light to that was satisfying, I guess you could say. But now I want to talk about a specific thing. Now, I don't believe that lifting weights in general is going to make you shorter, but instead there is one thing that could come from lifting weights in any other sport, actually, that is going to 100% decrease how tall you are or how healthy you are or whatever, right? And that would be weight cutting, or not having enough nutrients to support the growth of your actual physical self, as well as the muscle that you're building. So if you're going and lifting weights, you need a lot of energy to lift weights, because 1, you need to actually lift the weights, obviously. 2, you need to be able to build muscle, and 3, you actually have to build your body because you're in your prime growing state. So now you're trying to build 2 different things in one. And obviously, if you just didn't lift weights, you wouldn't have to compensate and eat more. That's basically what it's all about. If you eat enough, you're not going to have any problems at all. So what I'm trying to get at is weight cuts for any sport or in bodybuilding. Let's say for some reason you're 14, you're doing a weight cut. I don't think you should ever be doing that, but for some reason you are. You're going to have not optimal gains from it. You're not going to get taller, obviously. You're probably going to end up shorter, is what I'm trying to say. So having low nutrients is going to damage you a lot more than lifting some weights is, and a lot of people don't realize that for some reason. Now, there was a study I came across of how much pressure certain things add on to certain body groups. Now, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I remember one thing sticking out very clearly because it actually blew my mind, and it was a deadlift versus a bodyweight exercise. And I'm sure you can see where this is going. The bodyweight exercise actually had more pressure than the deadlift, which I found extremely surprising because I do a lot of deadlifts and they're actually pretty harsh on your body. Not if you do them right, even then they're still harsh because I do them so intensely, but not harsh in the way that they're going to injure you that much. But I just found it interesting that a bodyweight exercise, which just for you knowing purposes was a Superman, that's what it's called. You lay on the ground flat and you basically flex your entire back. That put more pressure on your spine than doing a deadlift did. And I just found that crazy. So a lot of people don't really realize just how much pressure or how dangerous lifting is, it's not that dangerous unless you're being stupid, or if you're a kid, you don't have the proper supervision. So obviously those things aren't going to help, but if you have proper supervision and you're doing everything right, you're not going to get injured. Very few people get injured in the gym, and I'm just proved it. 500,000 people in the gym from the ages 5 to infinity. Not really, but you know what I mean. So like I said, I can't prove or disprove whether or not lifting is going to make you shorter or taller or whatever, but I did kind of prove that other sports aren't as healthy as other people think, and they're less than, if not equal to, as dangerous as lifting weights, because I don't think lifting weights is really that dangerous at all unless you're being dumb. That's really the only injuries that happen. The only injuries I've ever had in the gym is from me being stupid, being a teenager, wanting to lift a lot of weight, ego lifting, just being dumb, right? So I talked about the negatives of sports basically. So I'm going to talk about the benefits of weight training. Some you may know, some you may not. So obviously benefits from weight training is you're going to have more muscle, obviously. You're going to burn more calories. Obviously, you're working out, as well as the fact that making more muscle, you're going to burn more calories just sitting down, obviously. But you're also going to get more fit, obviously. Like, I don't really need to say that, but these next three things are things you may have heard about or just don't completely know at all. One of them being bone density. A lot of people don't know this, but when you go and do basically any exercise that uses your joints, you're going to adapt to it. That's how your body works. Any work you give your body, or your body is going to adapt to that work and become better at doing it. That's just how it works. It's how the human body works. So if you're doing a squat every single day, a heavy squat every single day, your bones are going to become more dense because of it, because your body needs to be able to hold that weight, because it realizes, hey, I'm lifting all this weight every single day. Obviously, I need stronger bones. And this actually fights aging. This fights osteoporosis. I'm sure osteoporosis is the breakdown of bones, and they become very brittle, and it's just very bad and very sad. So lifting weights is going to counteract the effects of having just not as tough as bones or having complete osteoporosis, obviously. So next thing I want to talk about is actual mental health. A lot of people don't realize that lifting actually increases your mental health and makes you a lot better. And I actually went to Harvard for this. So really, I read through this whole thing, and this is the only paragraph that matters, right? The study's authors came to this conclusion after examining the results of 33 randomized clinical trials involving more than 1,800 people. They found that people with mild to moderate depression who performed resistance training 2 or more days a week saw significant reductions in their symptoms compared with people who did not. The findings also suggested that resistance exercises may be even more beneficial for those who have severe depressive symptoms. So that was from Harvard. That was obviously a very accurate study, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It increases your mental health. It is able to not cure your depression, obviously. That's not really how it works, but it is able to increase your ability to live a optimal and healthy life mentally as well as physically. It just helps you in a lot of ways. And I can actually say this does, because a lot of people don't know this, but when I recently moved to where I live out now, and it was my sophomore year, I believe. My sophomore year. So basically, high school, I just started. I'm making tons of friends. I was playing multiple sports. Obviously, tons of friends. I just said that. Whatever. I move in the middle of the year, and obviously, life sucks. I have no friends. I don't play any sports. So I found the gym, and everything got better from there. I didn't start the YouTube channel because of that, but I started learning, and then I was able to start the YouTube. A lot of good things come from that, as well as the fact that I obviously got physically fit and all that good stuff. So there's the mental health aspect. Now we're going to talk about one that probably very few people know about. The very few people that do know have watched very specific videos on probably fasting. That is the first time I ever talked about this, and it's autophagy. The first time I talked about this was in fasting, because the most you see autophagy in is with fasting. Now how it works is autophagy is when your optimal cells kill or eat your not optimal cells for energy. Now how this works is, for fasting, if you're not eating, you need energy, obviously, so your body's going to go and burn through any energy source that it can so it can survive, really. And that's how fasting works. That's why it's so good, or in the ways that autophagy works, it's good for you. It's not good for something like burning calories or losing weight or whatever, but it is an anti-aging, and it just helps you a lot, and it makes you very healthy doing it in the certain time periods that it is allotted in. Now, you can go and watch that video if you want, but a lot of people don't know this, and it's that if you train very intensely or very hard, you actually get autophagy from that, and without even having to do fasting. And it's really not that hard. When I say intense, a lot of people think I'm talking some crazy workout. It's not that hard at all. I'm sure many people have gone and done this. You go and work out, and you're trying to do one more set, one more rep, whatever, and you just cannot. Your muscle just won't get it up. Why do you think that is? Your muscle burns through all the glycogen, or the main energy source that your muscle uses. So what is it gonna, obviously you can't just have no energy in a certain place in your body. What is your body gonna do? It has to eat cells to make up for that lack of energy. It has to eat something, whether it be fat or those are still cells. So you know what I mean. It's gonna eat not optimal cells or cells you do not need. So if you have one cell that's very healthy, it's like a brand new cell, and you have one cell that's very old and it's dying, it's just not working optimally, the good cell is going to eat the bad cell. And now you're basically in a deficit of cells. So what happens? You're going to go and eat, and it's going to replenish all your cells, and you're going to have all these new healthy cells, and it's going to be very healthy for you in a physical way and a mental way and anti-aging way and all the ways that could possibly be good for you. So it's obviously very good. A lot of people don't know about that one. And those were the three things, and I just thought of another one for some reason. I didn't put it on my little list. Another benefit of weightlifting is, obviously, I was going to say that it actually increases things like GHR, human growth hormone, increases testosterone for guys, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I'm sure a lot of people knew that one, but I just thought about the fact that it actually increases your confidence a lot, because you realize two things. One, your body is obviously getting a lot better because you're getting muscles and you're losing fat and you're looking great, whatever. And you're obviously increasing your testosterone and human growth hormone you're going to get. And you're just going to look better and more appealing because of it. Maybe you'll grow a beard, whatever. And as well as the fact that you're going to realize that you work incredibly hard for what you want, your body goals. And knowing that you're able to go and do that, you're able to achieve what you want, your goals. Let's say you set a goal. Let's say you weigh 200 pounds and you're like, I want to get down to 170 within the year, and you do it. You're going to have a crazy confidence boost because you just did a goal that you had. It could be even tiny little goals. You're going to feel extremely excited, I guess, from meeting those goals, and you're just going to have a lot more confidence because you realize that you're a hard worker and you achieve what you want to do if you put your mind to it. And really, that's all I really had, except I missed one little point that was supposed to go back in the beginning of the video. But this was my own personal story about the weight cuts I was talking about. So do you think that you lifting weights and injuring your growth platelets is going to decrease how much height you get in your entire lifetime? Or do you think it's going to be how low your nutritional value is of your life when you were a child or becoming physically mature? I'm sure a lot of people just realize what I said and they're thinking, wow, it's actually probably because they don't eat enough or whatever. Some sports that are extremely beneficial that a lot of people love, they love these sports so much and they don't realize the actual toll it takes on the human body. These sports being, for me, it was actually MMA and track. Now for other people, it's usually these key ones. It's either MMA and gymnastics. Those are probably the biggest ones. The next two close I could think of without actually looking at the numbers would be cheerleading and dancing. These all have super high body dysmorphia, and they all have crazy weight cuts, and they got to look as good as they can, blah, blah, blah. Now for me, it was track and MMA. I had to do weight cuts for that at a very young age. I did MMA at the age of 4, and I did track from I did it in 6th, 7th, 8th, and freshman year. So obviously doing weight cuts all the time is just going to be extremely unhealthy for you, which it was because, and this is a little personal, but for people that don't know, my family is actually Norwegian. We're all Viking. That's why I base my whole channel. I wear the ring, whatever, all father, Norwegian, Scandinavian, whatever. My parents are very big people. Not my mom so much, but my father is. He's 6'3", and he's actually very short for my family. The tallest person in my family, I believe, is 7'2". That's obviously very tall. So why did I end up being 5'7"? Was it because I just got a bad luck of the hand or bad draw of the hand or whatever? Or do you think it was because of my terrible nutritional choices as a child in my middle school years? because that's when I did weight cuts the hardest and the most. Little food for thought. It was probably the fact that I had just horrible nutrition when I was a kid. And now I'm 5'7", and it sucks. Could have been 6 foot, but now I'm not. Darn. I just made this video so you could realize that some sports aren't as good as other sports, and for people that have kids, don't think that weight training is bad if they want to go and do it. Now, if they don't even talk about it, whatever. You don't have to force them to do anything. You don't have to not force them to do anything. It's obviously not my place to tell you how to parent, but in the years either you do have a child or in the coming years you end up having a child and they want to play sports, maybe you'll realize, or maybe you'll think of this video and you'll think, my kid said he wanted to play baseball, but I go to the gym personally. How about instead of him playing baseball, because this guy said it was very not good for you, obviously. I just read the thing. It said 3 in 4 children suffer head injuries, blah, blah, blah. How about instead I take him to the gym and we work out and whatever, see if he likes it. He probably is going to end up loving it because everyone does. Or he can go and play baseball and be super bored. That's up to him, I guess. But I just made the video so you could properly analyze sports and realize the benefits and the not benefits of each one, and realize that some sports aren't as bad as they seem. And that's really all it was about. So I tried to make this video as diverse as I possibly could in the ways that it wasn't just for people who had kids, or it wasn't just for people who were playing sports or whatever. I tried to make it diverse, and so everyone got everything out of it, and I hoped it worked. I managed to pull a lot of numbers out of the internet, which was really nice, and I was able to kind of prove my opinion a little bit more. Again, I cannot disprove or prove the fact that you do or don't get shorter when lifting weights or not lifting weights or whatever. But I think the information I provided was a good eye-opener if you were listening and paying attention and actually absorbing the information. So hopefully in the coming years you realize that some sports aren't as good as others, some are better, some are worse, whatever, and it all really comes down to your personal preference. But just the fact that you now know this knowledge is probably at some point, I hope, going to help you in something. But that's really all I got for this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to. I'd really appreciate it. I've been having some crazy number jumps in some of my videos and subscribers, and it's been crazy. So I'm trying to pump out more videos. I've been really bad at it because I've been working so much, unfortunately, but I plan to get back on it, and I think I'm doing really well because this video turned out a lot better than it was supposed to, because I made the decision to make it so diverse. So hopefully more people end up watching it. But like I said, subscribe. If you are already subscribed, go ahead and hit that bell notification so you can get the notification of my videos and watch them. That would be fantastic. But that's all I got for you today, and I'll see you in the next one.